What is going on, everyone? I am back with yet another video for you guys today. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is the Crimson Carver. I am a Warframe content creator over on YouTube, and I am a variety streamer over on Twitch. Now, today, we're going to be jumping into the Warframe Ember. Now, keep in mind, this is meant to be a beginner-friendly guide for the frame. So we're going to pretty much cover the basics and all you need to know about her. Right, where to get her, how to farm her, and at the end we're going to wrap it all up with some Steel Path gameplay. So, sit back, enjoy the show, and I hope you guys learn something new. So, Ember has 270 health, 270 shield, 135 armor, and 176 energy with a sprint speed of 1.1. Okay, that's nice to know, but how can I get her? Well, you can get Ember by purchasing her through the Warframe market for 225 plat, or you can buy her main blueprint from the market for 25,000 credits and get her other blueprint parts like her neuroptics, chassis, and systems from Sargas Rock on Tethys at Saturn. So what's the difference between Ember and Ember Prime? Well, Ember Prime has increased shields and armor as opposed to regular Ember. Now, one thing to keep in mind that every Prime Warframe will always have increased base stats over the base version of the Warframe. So, you've got Ember, and you're trying to figure out how she works. Right, well, let me break it down for you. Right? Her passive. Put simply, her passive basically means every enemy that's on fire within 15 meters of you gives you 5% ability strength, right? So, the idea is you set enemies on fire, you gain strength, which gives you more damage. Fireball. Yeah, basically you throw a fireball at somebody that it then explodes, and then it'll ignite enemies that come in contact with it, right? Whether it is the actual fireball or the explosion. Now, it has a drain of 25 energy. It has a damage of 400 to 800 heat damage. And it also has 150 to 300 area damage. It also has a radius of 3 meters, a combo window of 1.5 seconds, and the immolation meter buildup of 1% per second. Now, if we look at the stat sheet of the ability, right, we can already see that Streamline, right, the efficiency mods like Streamline, they are going to decrease the drain of the initial cast, right? Now, say you're having trouble getting strength mods, range mods, or duration mods, right? You know, the big ones, the important ones. Well, what you want to do is you want to head over to Earth, you want to head over to Cetus, talk to Konzu, he's going to have some bounties for you, right? And these bounties, what they're going to do is, some of these bounties are going to have mods, right? These mods are going to be called the Augur mods. So you're going to pick those up, right? You're going to pick up those bounties and you'll farm out these mods. These mods are basically placeholders till you get better ability mods. So keep that in mind, right? Now, if we put strength on here, what does that do? Well, that increases the damage and the area damage of the ability, right? Okay, but what about range? How does that affect the ability? Well, range is going to increase the radius of the explosion. So when that fireball hits an enemy, it explodes, right? Range is going to increase the range of the explosion, therefore hitting more enemies, right? Setting more enemies on fire. Now, this ability can be comboed, which means you can cast it again and again and again and again, right? What does this do? Well, essentially, the more you cast it, the more damage it does. But there is a combo window, which we can affect with duration mods, right? We slap on a mod like Augur Message, boom, our combo window just went up. Pretty cool. Now, Immolation. Protect Ember with flame armor that burns stronger over time, consuming energy once the meter is at full strength. Cast again to extinguish the flames. This is Ember's main source of damage reduction, right? So, essentially, how this works is you pop the ability. You set enemies on fire, that builds up the meter. The higher the meter, the more damage reduction you have, right? But it does have a bit of a cost, right? It costs 50 energy to cast. It has got a drain of 0.40 energy per second. It also has damage reduction, which scales up with your meter. So the higher the meter, the more damage reduction you have. But be warned, right? It will build the immolation meter 0.5% per second. Now, if we put on, say, I don't know, Streamline, right? We put on Streamline, right? That there is going to reduce the cost and reduce the drain increase per second, right? So, Streamline basically means, okay, the longer that this is active, it'll cost less to have channeled, right? So, Streamline is going to reduce the drain and the drain increase over time, so keep that in mind. Now, Strength. Strength is the fun part, right? We slap on a mod like, say, Augur Secrets, right? Augur Secrets is going to increase our damage reduction from 40 to 85 to 50 to 90%. Now keep in mind that 90% is the highest amount of damage reduction that you can achieve with this ability. So bear that in mind, okay? Alrighty. Fire Blast. Essentially, you just kind of slam the ground and a wall of fire spreads out around you. It knocks enemies back and strips enemies' armor. But it does have a drain of 75 to 25 energy. It does some damage. It does about 200 heat damage, which is not bad. It has a radius of 25 meters, which is basically 12.5 meters in every direction. It does reduce the cost of your immolation, right? So it'll reduce the immolation meter by about 50%, and it'll reduce it further by another 2% per second. And the armor reduction is capped at 100%. It starts out at 50 at base, and then as it builds up higher and higher, it'll get to 100% when you cast it. So, when you do cast this ability, be sure to cast it at 100%. My suggestion is hold it for 15 seconds, cast Fire Blast, reduce the immolation. Now, efficiency is going to reduce the cost of the ability, right? So yeah, as you can see, it's going to reduce the cost of the ability, which is nice. This is really good, right? Means costs less to cast, means we can cast it more often, right? Now, if we slap on, say, I don't know, maybe Strength, so Augur Secrets, right? That is going to increase the damage of the ability, right? It's going to do 248 heat damage when the Wall of Fire hits an enemy and knocks them back. So, yeah. Now, it also has a range which we can extend further with mods like Augur Reach, right? So, Instead of being the base 25, we can expand that even further, with one of these mods that's already sitting at 32.5 meters, which should be... Well, yeah, so it's sitting at around 32.5 meters. My brain can't math right now. It's all good. But yeah, pretty nice that we can extend that with some range, right? Now, let's see here. Moving on to the next ability, Inferno. Best way to sum up this ability, you just straight up call down meteors. Mind you, these meteors work off line of sight, so keep that in mind, okay? So, if there are enemies that are behind walls, you cannot target them. But if they are in front of you, well, they're fair game, right? Now, one of the cool things about this ability is that, say you have an enemy who's set on fire, right? That enemy walks up to another enemy. What's going to happen is the one that is originally set on fire is going to walk up to someone and it's going to set their friend on fire, and so on and so forth. It's pretty cool, right? Now, it costs 10 energy per target. So 10 energy per meteor hitting a target, right? Makes sense. It has an explosive radius of 25 meters, right? So that basically means when it hits the ground and it sets a person on fire, it has a 25-meter radius, which is roughly, yeah, it's about 12.5 meters in every direction. So that's not bad. It has impact and heat damage, which does 2,500 on the initial damage. And then it has damage over time, which is 350 to 700 heat damage. It has the fire that surrounds the enemy lasts for about 15 seconds, right? And the immolation meter buildup is 3% per second. Now, it has got a 67.5 degree angle, right? What does this mean? Basically means everything that's in front of you, you can pretty much target. Except if they're behind a wall, as I said before, right? Now, we can add efficiency mods to this to reduce the cost per target, which is always nice, right? Then we can add range to increase the explosive radius, right? So we chuck on a bit of range. Boom! The explosion radius has now been increased to 32.5 meters. Cool. Okay, that's nice. Now, strength. All right, what does strength do for this? Strength is going to increase the initial damage and the damage per second. So keep that in mind. Now, like most of Ember's abilities, it does have a bit of a duration. So we can slap on a duration mod to help increase the amount of time that that little flame cloak around the enemies is active. So yeah, kind of cool. And that's about all there really is to know about Ember's abilities. Okay, but what augments does Ember have? Well, let me elaborate, right? Her first one, which arguably may be one of her more useful abilities, in my opinion, or augments rather, right? Fireball Frenzy. Hold to cast, and whenever you hold this ability, what happens is you are going to gain 100% heat damage on pretty much all of your attacks for about 40 seconds, which is kind of nice. Now, this benefits from range, right? So if we slap on range, this is going to... Sorry. If we slap on a bit of range, this is going to extend the radius of which the buff can be applied. So instead of enemies that are within 15 meters, it's enemies that are within 20 meters, right? Then we add strength, right? We put on strength. This is going to increase the buff amount based on the amount of strength we have. 24% gives us 124% fire damage, right? Now, given that this is a duration-based ability, it also means that it can be affected by duration. Okay, cool. Duration makes the buff last longer. I mean, what else did you expect? Right? Duration just makes things last longer or makes them cost less. So, yeah. So, to recap, the ability Fireball Frenzy scales with strength, range, and duration. Yeah. Then our next one is Immolated Radiance, right? So, how does this work? Well, whenever we cast Immolation, right, any allies that are within affinity range, so 15 meters, right? Any allies that are within 15 meters gain a certain percentage of Immolation's damage reduction, right? Now this scales with strength. So, the more strength you have, the more of a benefit that your team will get, right? So, keep that in mind. More strength, more damage reduction for your allies. Kind of nice. Okay, well, what's next? Ah, yeah. Healing Flame, one of my personal favorite augments, I'll be honest. It's so good. So whenever you cast Fire Blast, you heal for each enemy hit, and then when you're at max health, instead of gaining health, you gain Overguard. I think this is amazing. Alright, so you gain 20 to 50 health per enemy hit, and you can gain up to a max of 10,000 Overguard. Now, this Overguard can be further increased with strength, right? So we slap that on, and boom, the Overguard cap just got increased. The health we gained per enemy also got increased. Cool. Now, Fire Blast also has another augment, right? It's called Purifying Flames. Now, essentially what happens is, you cast Fire Blast, any allies that are within affinity range or within the range of the ability that get hit by it immediately get stack cleansed. Toxin? Not today. It's kind of nice, right? Now, this will scale off duration, right? So, we still have a duration mode on there. Boom. See? The buff, the stat cleanse will now last longer. So, once again, the stat cleanse duration is going to last based off of your own ability duration. So keep that in mind. Now, what's next? Oh, that's right. Exothermic. So what does exothermic do? Well, back before Ember had a bit of a, not so much of a rework, but she had, I wouldn't call it a rework, but she received some buffs, right? Which, in all honesty, made this a bit redundant. Essentially, every enemy that's killed with your fourth ability has a 15% chance to drop an energy orb. Now, unfortunately, this chance cannot be modified in any way whatsoever. So, yeah. I mean, it's a good augment for energy sustain if you're able to kill with your fourth ability. So, yeah, it's definitely an option. Outside of that, there's really not much left to talk about. So yeah, that pretty much encompasses all of Ember's augments.
These are worthy foes. Underestimate them at your peril.
The Orican Neural Sentry is attempting to purge you from this place. Stand by for life support. detect you. Fighters will soon attack. The sentient is onto you. Look out for troopers. Hold out until I can search. But if you need to live, extraction is ready. Hiding Vera in the void risked the unfathomable. I fear we are seeing the consequences of that risk now. Destroy these void-stained enemies. All manner of Orican technology may work here due to the Circulus's proximity. If you have a necromech, you may use it.
And so we learn the importance of clarity.
Casting crown.